Thank you very much. I'd like to take a moment to welcome again our board member Brian Green, and also welcome Sherry Masterson as she arrives. All right, we'll move on to we have an introduction. Mr. Gonzalez.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for this opportunity to welcome a familiar face into a new position. John Jarvis has been appointed as our facilities director. We had a very robust pool of candidates, and John rose to the top through his interviews, and we're really eager to have him in this capacity. So John, as many of you know, was a former student and a proud graduate of Lyman Memorial High School, started as an employee in the Lebanon Public Schools in the fall of 2005. He began his tenure as a member of our custodial team, working primarily at the high school, and then he transitioned into the role of district maintainer in July of 2019. In his current role, he does a lot of different things to take care of our field, general repairs across the district, but stands out really with just always lending a helping hand wherever there's a staff or student in need. He's shared with me that he really enjoys collaborating with the LPS team, takes great pride in supporting the schools, and is very excited about being our new facilities director. So John, I got a little cup of coffee when you wake up at 4 in the morning for those snow calls and some chocolate in there to keep you running, but congratulations and welcome to the team.
Congratulations, John.
Welcome, John.
Yes, we're so happy to have you.
We
We are so happy to have you.
Yeah.
Steady.
So happy.
Steady now.
Looking forward to working even more closely with you. Congratulations. We don't have any communication this evening to share, and now we will move into our public participation portion of the agenda. According to the Lebanon Board of Education bylaws, the Board of Education will allocate up to 30 minutes for public participation, with each individual speaker allocated up to 2 minutes. At this point, is there any member of the public who wishes to speak this evening? Hello, Bruce.
Bruce?
Sarah, Andy, and everyone on the Board of Ed that resigned, as you probably know, effective November 27th. I just want to say that I'm grateful for the opportunities to work with all of you to serve on the board and its many subcommittees. Due to my hearing loss, it will be difficult for me to continue to function as needed on the board. I'm grateful for the wealth of valuable experience that was gained, and it was a privilege to be a part of this dedicated and close-knit group. Thanks to all of you, and I wish each of you the best.
Thanks,
Thank you
so much. And Bruce, I just want to also take a moment to thank you for your hard work and your dedication also as a board member. So thank you very much. Is there any other members of the public who wishes to participate this evening? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to the next portion of the agenda. We have the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Alexis, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously.
Motion to amend the agenda to add action item 6.
Second.
Motion by Alexis, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion?
What is
If anybody-
item 6?
Item 6 will read to act on the LMHS auditorium lighting. So we have to vote on to amend the agenda, and then we'll add action 6.
All those in favor of amending the agenda, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously.
So adding action item 6 to read, act on LMHS auditorium lighting.
Motion, thank you. Motion by Alexis, seconded by Brian. Any discussion? All those in favor of adding action item number 6, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. Thank you. Sherry, I just want to say welcome. Nice to meet you.
Thank you, and I apologize for coming in after the pledge.
That's okay.
The parking, there's a lot of cars out
Oh,
there,
yeah,
and
basketball
situation.
game.
I'm still, depending on my cane here after my surgery, but I'm so happy to be here, and thank you.
Thank you. We're happy to have you. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to our student representatives report. Hi, Avery.
Hi,
Hi.
Avery.
So I don't have much to report on than I would like to since of the 2-week break in between the last two meetings. But starting with LES, the day after we had the last meeting, it was actually a half day and I came in for work and I saw the third graders were getting little gifts. And so I was curious, so I asked why. Apparently the third graders were getting gifts because they had good behavior throughout the whole week. So they got rewarded at the end of the week before Thanksgiving break. And then at that same day, right as I asked, the little first graders come walking in through the door and have like a little parade with balloons and puppets. It was really cute. They all decorated their balloons to like their favorite characters. And then that same Friday, they had their holiday extravaganza, which I heard was a really good hit, as it always is. And then the whole district, which I didn't know did this, they did the whole PJ day. So I think the elementary school and the middle school raised about $900 collectively, and then Lyman raised $173. So as a whole district, we did a pretty good job raising that money to go to the, is it the Children's Hospital?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And then the whole LES has a concert next week for chorus. I believe it's on a Wednesday, I'm not sure. But then the 4th grade saxophonists got to go around to the schools, got to go around to the classes, and they did little Christmas carols if they knew their parts. And also, lastly for LES, the theater club that they have after school, they put on a play today called The Snow Queen. So for LMS, like I mentioned in the last board meeting, if you guys read the notes, they sold gibbets on, which I didn't know, one side of the gym. And so this time they did Panther Fest, they sold it on both sides of the gym because I heard it was a really good hit. So I guess they made a bunch of money doing that and it was really, really good. Their winter sports started. Boys basketball had a game yesterday, sadly lost against Wyndham, but it's okay. Wyndham's a tough school. The 8th graders came to Lyman for a tour around. It was pretty good overall, not too bad. And then their winter concert is actually Friday, where 7th and 8th and 5th and 6th grade band and chorus will be performing, and I believe jazz band as well. And for Lyman, winter sports have started, as we already know. Basketball games going on right now against Tortola, girls basketball. So the Looking In Theater came into Lyman on, when did they come in?
November 30th.
Yeah, sometime recently. But the Looking In Theater is basically a group of high school students that perform skits. They go to an art school, so they perform skits, and they come to Lyman and kind of give skits about difficult topics such as suicide, drug abuse, addiction, all that type of stuff. And then they get the audience engaged, and we had a lot of really good discussions on that. So we had 2 groups, and each group had a really good discussion about each of the different skits they put on. And then we also hosted an 8th grade open house. Lots of members came. I know Miss Pearson's family came. I saw them, gave Elizabeth a tour. And Model UN went to the UN building in Hartford on December 1st. I heard that was really fun. They learned a lot, got to meet a lot of crazy people too. And then we had Honor Society inductees. We had 3 Tri-M inductees, including Mac Booth, Genevieve Gardella, and Eleanor Rogers. And then 20 new National Honor Society inductees. And if you would like to know the names, Mr. Apicelli has them on his board, on his report. And the Lyman Winter Concert is Thursday, December 14th, so this Thursday. Lots of concerts happening recently. And tomorrow, A Community Speaks Out is coming to Lyman, so they talk about drug abuse and addiction as well. And they talk a lot about personal stories, so it's more engaging for the audience. Like, they came last year, and I really enjoyed them. Tomorrow, wrestling has their first home match against Woodstock, if any of you guys would like to attend. Wrestling's always kind of underappreciated, so I'm going to try to go if I can. And then FFA had a holiday sock sale, which the socks were really cute. It already ended, sadly. I'm sorry I couldn't let you know before. Student Council is doing a bake-off, and they're giving all of the baked goods to a homeless shelter. They're doing that tomorrow, actually. And then lastly, there was a captain's conference at NFA today, and a bunch of representatives from Lyman went, including Sylvie Hiltz for indoor track, James Hiltz for wrestling, and I believe Brandon Simeone for indoor track. So that was a lot more than I wanted to cover, but that's it for this week.
Thanks, Avery.
Thank you,
I
Avery.
have a question.
Yeah.
It's probably embarrassing for me, but what's a gibbet?
A gibbet? So, you know, like the little rubber things that you can put in the crock holes?
Oh.
That's a gibbet.
Okay, those are gibbets.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Avery.
All right, thank you
Thank
guys.
you, Avery.
Thank you,
Have a
Avery.
good night.
Learned so much here.
I know you do.
Just
All right, time for some reports of committees. Dawn, safety and security.
We did not meet, however, no, I'm not safety and security anymore.
Oh my goodness.
And I just realized.
I'm so sorry.
Because we were on the same page.
That's right, superintendent evaluation.
So we
Thank
didn't
you.
meet, but we are at the time of year where we need to do the mid-year eval. So welcome to the board. It's time for the mid-year eval. I will send out an email. We'll follow the same process that we did last time, and I'll send out an email.
And for Sherry and for Andrew, if you have any questions on that, the document is, can be a little intimidating. So if you have any questions or you feel not comfortable in responding, that's okay too.
And we won't use the document I will include it, but we won't use that document. It's much more concise.
Yeah, that document is really helpful when providing specific feedback or specific things that you're looking for. Thank you, thank you. Okay, thank you, Dawn. Anything else?
Nope, that is all.
All right, great. When do you want the feedback by any?
Last time they sent it out right around this time and gave everybody till the beginning of January. So
Okay,
a couple
great.
weeks, yeah.
A couple weeks. All right. Andrew, you haven't had a meeting yet, but you have enrollment in climate and culture.
I do.
Great.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report. Rachel, finance.
So we met on the 29th, and we met today, and Andy also held some budget input sessions today. In November, basically, we just reviewed the current budget and discussed the upcoming 24, 25 budget. And the timetable for that budget. Today, we discussed our current budget is at 6.7. Of course, that's going to be changing and it's very fluid right now. We talked about the budget input sessions. We had, there was one for Lyman and LMS, one for LES, and one for the public. There was a low turnout. One person for LMS and 3 for LES came. Basically, the input was an additional support person for the English department at Lyman and expanding the PE program to a full-time position at LES. No one came to the public input session. And then we discussed future meetings and timetable with the goal of a presentation to the Board of Finance on February 27th.
Great. A lot of work coming ahead for that committee. Alexis, negotiations and/or safety and security.
No report for either. However, we are meeting safety and security on the 20th, as well as negotiations. So, report next month.
Great. Thank you. Danelle, curriculum and strategic plan.
So the strategic plan meeting was canceled, but the curriculum part of our committee met tonight, and it had a very robust hour-long meeting, which I will type up the minutes for. You can read the details later, but to cover 2 new things, 2 members of the English department from Lyman came to talk about 2 new half-credit courses, topics of the graphic novel course, as well as animals in literature course, which would fit in very well with our agriculture-focused town. More details in my minutes. For that, we also talked about professional development that's happened in both October and November. There's a lot to talk about there. We also discussed the reading mandate update at what's going on at the middle school, the elementary school, the iReady Year 2 update, as well as re-looking at some of the assessment totals and how we can finagle them a little differently with timing, and the new middle school health curriculum was updated. I just curious of what was happening there, because we haven't really done much with health before at the middle school, but we got an update on that too, so more on that in the minutes.
Any questions? Thanks, Danelle. Facilities, Nicole.
Okay, so we met this evening. First topic was the Lyman roof. For those of you who don't know, we had a restoration on the Lyman roof, which is, the repairs are ongoing. Thanks to the weather this past weekend, they're now troubleshooting some leaks, and the block repair is ongoing. They're just waiting materials. Next on the agenda was the Lyman lighting in the auditorium, which we will be discussing this evening. In the past, this has been an item that has been on the agenda for years to repair the lighting in the auditorium, and we just had a meeting there last month, and everyone could see how very dark it is. So Andy and John kind of came up with an idea of putting it in phases rather than the complete 100,000 to do the entire thing. Now they're going to do it in phases, so we'll be discussing that. That's going to be an agenda item this evening. Next was at the middle school, the lettering in the gym to say something like Home of the Panthers. So originally they reached out to Recognition Products to see if maybe a sticker of some sort could be put on the concrete, but the surface is not conducive for stickers, so they're looking into painting, and John is still getting quotes for that. LES gym floor, so we talked about the entire replacement of putting like a vinyl flooring on top of the existing floor would be about $109,000, and then if you want to put another like a slip resistant membrane on it, another 12, and then Manchester awning will be putting a couple of awnings on the outside doors, and keep in mind that the town has allotted us $100,000 to do this work in the summertime, and we'll probably be going into our non-lapsing for the remainder of the amount. And that's it.
Any questions? Go ahead, Danelle.
So the stickers on the wall, we talked about how we already have some stickers in the district. Is the wall different texture than?
Yeah, because it's concrete. John could probably speak more to this, because it's concrete, it won't stick. Yeah.
I just have a question.
Sure.
If it won't stick to the concrete, has it been considered at all to put some sort of membrane or something that it would stick to and incorporate that, or
Like a backing?
Yes, thank you. So that you're not actually putting the sticker on the concrete, but on something in between? Is that a possibility? Maybe?
That's
a good idea.
For our facilities director.
If I could on that. Sherry, just thinking about the surface area that this would cover, it's going to be a pretty expansive area. So the stickers would have been isolated like letters or a figure. So we would have to put something that would span 30, 40 feet in terms of backing, or create individual backing elements. So might be less labor actually just to paint it.
And
Cost even.
Costly, yes. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good question. Okay, thank you very much. And Brian, thank you for your input, and we will put you to work shortly. Thank you, on the committee. And Sherry, you as well. I do have an input form for you. I'll get that to you before the end of the meeting on which committees you'd prefer. Okay? Yeah, thank you. All right, we'll move on to our administrator's report.
So I did speak with some of the administrators before. They might have a couple details to add, but similarly to Avery's position about reporting out a couple weeks ago. But Mr. Johnson looked eager to present. Come on down, Mr. Johnson.
Good evening. I just had a few things to add to the principal's report. There's a section in there that I put on attendance for participating and getting involved in the National Attendance Awareness Campaign and the Connecticut Attendance Awareness Campaign. And I kind of outlined some of the steps that we were taking, but since then we're kind of trying to get in the habit of rewarding some of our students. So I'm happy to report we had 32 students that have perfect attendance to date, so through quarter one, so we'll be recognizing them next week as part of our pep rally that we'll be doing on Friday, and we had 71 students that have perfect attendance for the month of November as well. And And then I just wanted to encourage parents to come to the Community Speaks Out Parent Forum tomorrow here at Lyman, 6:30 to 8. Our 7th and 8th graders at the middle school will have their own version of Community Speaks Out, so it'd be nice to kind of mesh the things that the kids are talking about in school with some of the things that you can learn at the parent forum. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other administrators who would like to add to their report?
Avery did way too good of a job.
Okay.
That's a first.
All right, the report of the superintendent, town surplus fund
Yeah, thank you.
projects.
I'm excited once again to update the board on the progress with the town surplus fund projects and once again just publicly to thank the town for their contribution to some much needed projects in our schools. So the LES gym floor is a project I will start with first. We do have a contract with a company, and that did go along with Nicole's notes. We are looking at a vinyl product to go over the existing hardwood floor. It is moisture resistant, and we did actually take a tour to another district who has this product on their gym floor. It performs well. We were dribbling a basketball, kind of testing it out on our own. I'm confident that the community will like the look and feel of this, and it will be, a safe environment for our learners. So we have some questions for that contractor, but we're looking to get moving on that project soon in terms of signing the contract, locking in the contractor so that we can do the work over the summer. The asbestos project will be phase 2 of a project that took place at the middle and elementary school. Mr. Jarvis and Mr. French have kind of worked together to be in contact with the contractor to set up a time early in the spring to kind of go over the scope of that project once again so that we have limited hiccups as it takes place over the summer. That will have implications on extended school year services and our custodial cleaning, so we want to have the details ironed out as soon as possible. The alarm system upgrade has already taken place. It was installed in all 3 of the schools. We're currently working on some training for certain personnel, but we were happy with how quickly that project took place. And the LMHS roof work is almost complete. There are troubleshooting, as Nicole shared in her report as well, some leaks that we saw with the heavy rain, and they will be putting the covers on the coping outside. So all in all, we have made great headway with that town surplus funds. Any questions on the town surplus fund projects?
Just
Go ahead.
one, if I might, Andy. How well does the vinyl hold up? What is either the warranty or what's the other district?
Yeah, so one of the big questions that we have, so the other district that we visited has had it for, I think, 4 years now, and they got it right around the time where they were having to have lunch. The tables moved in and out of this community room. So the lunch tables were being wheeled over it. There was a lot of heavy traffic because they were trying to space kids out differently than just using the cafeteria. The principal said that it's been great with all that type of wear and tear. They hold rec basketball in this community center, and they have no complaints from any of the teams or the coaches. And it was interesting, we connected with a custodian who was a student and has worked there his entire life. He's like 50 years, or I want to say 60, but that sounds outrageous. But he came in and gave glowing recommendations on how it holds up, how easy it is to clean. It looked light and bright. The lettering and the line striping looked nice. So they had nothing but positive things to say. But John and I, when we speak to the contractor, we do want to talk to them about warranty things in particular, because this is a big purchase.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Can I also just update the board on the school study project
Oh, yes,
as well?
sorry.
No, it's okay.
I did leave that one out here. So we have a kickoff meeting for our school study project on December 21st. It will be something that happens with me only because it is really limited to data that they need from the district. But Sarah and I have been very careful to make sure that all communication is going back to that full committee to make sure that there's transparency with this important work in the project that will take, remember, about a year long.
Mm-hmm. And there's information that they're requesting, from, historical data, board policies, policies, that type of thing, just to get that in their hands, to get the work started. So as soon as we know more, we can get that meeting set up with the townwide committee.
So the next part of the report of the superintendent is just an update on staffing. We did have a resignation from our former business manager. That leaves a big hole and a very important role, especially this time of year as we're working on budget development for next year. We have put in place some stopgap measures with some qualified members to come back, but it's not a full-time fill. They are contributing where they can and trying to help us along to make sure that we don't fall too far behind, but it's not something that we can withstand long-term. We did have a very few number of candidates that applied, roughly 3, and only one of them had experience. I did schedule an interview. Unfortunately, that person about 2 hours ago said that they're going to decline the interview, so we are kind of back to the drawing board with that position. Any questions about staffing?
Question whether to bring it up in staffing under the finance reports.
Go ahead.
So, a couple of things, Andy, on the business office. Could we perhaps, a couple suggestions. One, CTCPA, and see if they've got any suggestions on leads for anybody that, because a lot of times folks will reach back out to them even without CPAs that use them for an employment source. They're kind of off-grid and specialized for just the accounting folks. Another suggestion might be for the auditors that the town has employed to see if they've got anybody that might be willing, able either to, they might know somebody or somebody might want to moonlight. So one never knows. So just a couple of suggestions on staffing. I do have a couple of concerns. When somebody leaves a major financial position like that, generally speaking, we will do a complete cutoff of finances as of a certain date. Everything will be reconciled to make sure that we can go forward. That the last thing we want to do is 6 months later find out that there was something wrong. And please understand, I'm not suggesting that there ever would be, but that it is standard protocol that we do a cutoff and that we make sure that everything is reconciled until that point. I just would caution that with a couple folks, and I understand that we're trying to put fingers in the dike at this point, and I get that. Just want to be cautious that our internal control lines are solid, that, we don't want to give an opportunity for me to blame you to blame me, oh, that was him, that was her, that was them. Again, the last thing we want to do is find out in the next audit cycle, a year and a half from now, that we did have an issue. So just as a couple, 2 cents on.
No, yeah, I agree with you, and thank you for those recommendations. Those are 2 places I have not looked, so I can give those a shot and see if they lead to anything. So,
thanks.
Anything else with staffing? All right, the last part of the update here is talking about the 24-25 budget. We did hold the input sessions, as Rachel alluded to in her report, just elaborating a little bit more on that. I did start by being vulnerable with the staff with regards to where we are. I at this point last year, I felt like I had a pretty polished product that I could roll out to everybody. At this point, I wanted to be careful that I wasn't giving anybody inaccurate information. So rather than make it really data-driven, I decided just to share with them what my presentation will contain as the numbers become more available. So we went over the timeline for the rollout of the entire budget process. I talked about some of my superintendent budget priorities, which are very similar to what they have been in the past, with a focus on transparency and trust, and then making sure that we're striving for the best for our learners and always for excellence in our schools, and at the same time balancing our fiscal responsibility to the larger community. Talked about some things that in the context of the 24-25 2025 budget that are a little bit different than they have been in the past. Specifically, I'm going to do a little bit more on highlighting what's taken place during the course of our strategic plan from 2019 to 2024, making sure that the district is well aware of where their investment has gone and can really celebrate some of the great things we've done within that strategic plan, and kind of ushering in the Lebanon 2030 plan that will be in the works. There are some legislative requirements that we're going to have to be responsive to in this budget cycle, as we've been in years past, and there are some new analysis that have come out from the state that I'm eager to share with the community. I did go over some historical Board of Ed proposals, the historical town-approved budgets, and talked a little bit about how we got to our initial projection. There are limited new district initiatives and staffing increases included in our preliminary number. Increased special education costs, tuition, transportation, staffing and services. All of those requests that have come from the teachers and staff members have us sitting at a roughly 6.7% increase as a starting point. For reference, last year we started at a 7.2 and worked our way down. I like to honor the request of our staff, our teachers, our administrators as we're building, and then we work as a team to really try to chip away at that and get to that fiscally responsible number, at the same time not sacrificing things that we really feel are important in our schools. Additionally, I've been examining some areas for potential savings or increases to revenue, and I'll look forward to share those as well. Any questions about the 24-25 budget?
Any questions? No. Speaking of the budget, move on to our brief financial report. Included in our packet is the 23-24 report.
So I would draw your attention to page 3, and then if there are any questions throughout, I can do my best to try to answer those for you. But as you can see, we are right on track. We're only like 0.6 of a percentage point off of what our 5-year average has been for this time in the year. There are no new surprises. What I've been sharing with you and with the Board of Finance when I've had opportunities to speak with them is we have had some significant shifts with our special education tuition and transportation lines. At this point, they really are being offset by some of the staffing situations that we've had. When we have positions that go without being fully staffed, it brings down our salaries and benefits, but we've had increases to special ed tuition and transportation. So I am working hard with the business office support that we do have to see about like a salary projection to be able to keep you updated on that. But right now we're in a good spot, all things considered. Go ahead, Brian.
Just one quick question, Andy. Knowing the timing of when, the business office switch and stuff, I was just curious, are we pretty confident in November's numbers?
Yes.
Okay. Awesome. Thanks.
Then moving into the facilities tracking list, the one thing that I did point out with the November update, with the burglar alarm project being started, we gave the deposit from our capital fund, but this is part of the town surplus fund project. So I'm going to be working with Haley at the town just to better understand that mechanism. How are we drawing down funds from the town surplus to use on these projects? And I'll be able to give you an answer on that at the next meeting. And looking at athletics and technology capital, the only thing I would add within technology capital, I know there have already been some purchases for smart displays and laptops in early December that are part of the technology refresh plan. And then I did speak with our athletic director. We're still awaiting a new quote for the mobile press box, the Donkey, I believe it's called. We haven't received an updated quote on that, but that is where we're planning to spend the remaining funds. Any questions about facilities or capital stuff?
Nope. All right. Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
Double duty today. All right, that brings us to our action items. We have some policies that we are acting on this evening.
Motion to act on second readings 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Second.
Thank you. I think we have,
1, 2, 3, 4, right.
we can do 1 through 4 together because we're updating those.
Okay, let me amend that. Motion to act on second reading 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Second.
Motion by Nicole, seconded by Brian. Any discussion? So the motion is to approve the update to the policies. I can read all of the numbers. Student transportation management, transportation complaints, personnel reduction enforcing comparability of services. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously.
You're on again.
Oh, motion to delete policy 354 1.6.
Motion by Nicole, seconded by Danelle. Any discussion? All those in favor of deleting the policy transportation to non-public schools, please raise your hand. And that passes unanimously.
Motion to act on the Lime Memorial High School auditorium lighting.
Second.
Motion by Alexis, seconded by Dawn. Any discussion?
Actually, I have to amend that motion.
Okay.
So the motion should read, to buy material and to complete phase 1 and 3, with the balance of the facilities capital of $28,928.48, and the remaining to come from non-lapsing up to $40,000 to complete that project.
Second.
Motion was amended by Alexis, seconded by Nicole. Any discussion? Go ahead, Danelle.
Tell us what they're doing with that money?
Nicole,
I'll do it.
John.
Okay, so,
I think John would like to talk about it.
John, you want to do it?
We'll all help each other out here.
So originally it was going to be $100,000 to replace all the lighting in the auditorium. But then Andy met with John and said, is there another way we can do this so it's not $100,000? So they came up with 3 phases. The first phase, John, what are the areas for the first phase again?
All right, so the first phase is actually just the infrastructure of phase 2 and 3. So phase 1 includes a new lighting board, all the wiring, any relays, it's to get everything in place. And then phase 2 was to do all the front stage lighting, which are the ones that sit overhead and then face down in front of the stage that would hit the curtain, and to add pit lighting, which is where you guys sat at the last board meeting. Phase 3 was all the on-stage lighting, which is the lighting that we're having issues with. We've got some fixtures that are getting hot, a lot of them aren't working properly, so that's why we're looking to do phase 1 and 3. And you can't do phases 2 and 3 without doing 1 first. So 1 has to be done, and then we chose to do stage 3 because that affects the shows themselves that happen.
And they have a show on March 8th, so they're trying to get it done before that show.
Any question, Danelle?
No, that answers my question. It doesn't have anything to do with the video projector, does it?
No, that was its own issue. We solved that.
Any other discussion or questions? All those in favor of approving this lighting project in the amount that Alexis read before, please raise your hand. That passes unanimously. Items for next agenda, I know in Danelle's committee report, we have some course proposals and potentially some textbooks that might be going to first reading from those courses. So those are some things to keep an ear open for. Anybody have anything else right now? All right, we will adjourn at 8:11. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night.
That's a nice.
Welcome back, Brian.
That's a
Right?
nice. Where's this been my whole life?
Okay, used to.
Yeah, I know.